I do not normally cover price action on this channel because I prefer to focus my time on servicing the more unusual of the due diligence. And in today's episode, we're going to take a look at price action from December 25th, 2021 to January 22nd of 2022 to show something, well, different. If you are thinking there's plenty of different about this channel, well, that's true. There is that. But also, I realized that we could create a measure of value by looking at the relative drops of some of the channel favorites. Is this one of those weird technical astrology episodes where I learned that a Taurus is in the cards for the moon? Oh, it is far better. Welcome to Unusual Due Diligence. I am your host, Poseidon, god of the sea. And in today's fresh episode, we explore an idea. The idea is whether there is anything interesting in looking at the Coinbase end-of-day price action on channel favorites and what conclusions or insights we might draw from that. For example, does Ankr move in Bitcoin's orbit, or does it move in Ethereum's orbit? After all, Ankr is based on the Ethereum chain. Let's dive in. Shown on the screen is a tabular dataset of channel favorites. You can build one yourself. Let me quickly tell you how to do it. The first thing you'll want to do is have a way to get a consistent snapshot of the end-of-day data. The way I approached this was to use Coinbase. I manually retrieved the end-of-day data for each of the listed assets over a period of 1 week each. I started with a so-called zero day on December 25th, 2022, because that is the founding day of the UNDD token. The symbols shown here are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ankr, AMP, Algorand, Solana, and the UNDD token. There are 3 prices for each. The snapshotted price is taken from 6 p.m. based on the Coinbase snapshots to values. You might be wondering, is this going to be one of those weird math videos involving horses? No, but I promise you it'll be weird. Let's build up by starting with the interesting bit. Excel has an option to do a linear series, which is useful when calculating things like a numeric range, say 1 to 10, and then you want to automatically fill in the values from say 11 to 100. It's a time-saving steps. The way the formula works is based on an automatic computation of a linear series. Now, this is not a math tutorial video. It is a Batman detective video on price action. Let's use the bat sonar as we fly a little deeper. If you look at this tabular sheet of price action, there doesn't seem to be anything interesting about it. It's a list of numbers. Allow me to show you something, well, kind of crazy. If you use the autofill linear series within Excel to compute one cell value, we now have a new range of prices. Now, in theory, this would be a computed price based on purely linear series based on the prior 3 prices. Remember, the prior 3 prices are all based on a weekly snapshot starting on December 25th, 2021, because that is when the UNDD token was born. And speaking of the UNDD token, I have plans for a deep dive into something called AMM. If you were to ask me where Ankr might start dabbling in next, one theory would be AMM. I'll leave that here for now, but keep an eye out for that and more Ankr videos soon. If you aren't listening on the go, you may be wondering what I have shown on the screen here. So on the screen are new prices. Now, it doesn't seem all that remarkable. For those listening on the go, allow me to give you a sense of what we are looking at. We have a tabular list of assets followed by price. Using Ankr as an example, we see 3 prices, 0.11, 0.10, and then 0.091. And now we have this new Excel-based calculation that computed by a linear series value of 0.0813333. If you have a feeling things are going to get really weird, well, they are. Very weird. Let's take a look at Algorand. The price for Algorand are 1.58, 1.74, 1.39. If you were to guess the computed price, would you have guessed 1.38? Now, what is so interesting about that number is that the price on 1/15/2022 was also $1.38. So let me restate that in a different way, just so you can follow the enormity of what I just said. Using the autofill series of Excel to compute a linear series based on a 7-day snapshot starting on December 25th, the formula correctly predicted the value of Algorand down to the penny. I don't know about you, viewer, but I find that very intriguing. Let's keep going. What about that Bitcoin and Ankr or Ankr and Ethereum relationship? Right. So the question is whether Ankr orbits in the Ethereum or Bitcoin orbit. So how would one really tell this story? Well, you'd start out by looking at the relative percentage of change. Now, I am approaching this in a little unusual way, and I absolutely know these methods are controversial amongst many. Poseidon kind of thinks that you keep doing something that works until it doesn't, you know? A wise man once told me, if it works, keep doing it. So, using the predicted linear series value as a root, we will use that compared to the actual price to get a sense of not only how far off the auto-filled linear series is from the actual value, but also provide us a number that tells us how far we are moving. Meaning, we are going to get a number that tells us two things at once. First, how far off the predicted value is. Second, a number that we can use to compare it to other numbers to identify the percentage of relative change. Curious about how that works? Well, think of it this way. If you, say, have 10 cars and see all 10 are moving at, say, 35 miles an hour, but one is moving at 85 miles per hour, then clearly one is accelerating more than the others. The race car example is interesting and has me wonder, with all the money in crypto and basketball, when does it branch out into other sports, say racing? That's a side thought to track down later. So now let's go back to Algorand. We would expect the percentage of change number to equal out to 0%. You might wonder why I call this 0%. I recognize it's a little unusual. 0% because the predicted value was correct. That is, the predicted value was equal to that of the actual value. There's no deviation. You could flip the math and say it was 100% correct, but I have reason to keep it based in 0%. Word it like this in your head. The predicted value was 0% wrong. Imagine having a prediction formula that was 0% wrong. Sounds like getting paid to me. It does to all of my personalities too. So let's go over the numbers of our predicted values, but expressed as percentages. For Bitcoin, we were off by 12%, Ethereum 21%, Ankr 13%, AMP 0%, ALGO 0%, SOL 18%, and UNDD 0%. If you were to say, quote, wait, so you're telling me a linear series correctly predicted the value of AMP and ALGO? End quote, I would respond, indeed. But there's even more going on here. I encourage the viewer to retrace my methods and perform their own unusual due diligence to confirm. It's quite unusual. There's even more going on here. On December 25th, 2021, when the UNDD token was born on the Solana blockchain, there's a lot of great reasons for that, but this isn't that episode. Instead, look at the relative values of Ethereum and Solana. Both of these smart contract solutions solve very similar problem sets. Both are solving real problems, and notice both moved about 20%. Going back to earlier, these two cars are moving along the highway at roughly the same speed, but wait, there's more. Now, there's debate about whether Ankr is in the Bitcoin orbit. My personal view is that Bitcoin is more akin to the SPY of the stock market, meaning it's the fund to which your holding of tokens and coins need to beta your portfolio against. One day I can get into that, but this is also not that day. Instead, listen to these two numbers. Bitcoin, 12%, Ankr, 13%. So imagine there's 4 cars driving down the highway. 2 are going 20 miles per hour, and 2 others are going 12 miles per hour. The 2 going 20 miles per hour are Ethereum and Solana. Bitcoin and Ankr are moving at the same speeds. And just to clarify what we just did, we quantified Ethereum and Solana's business propositions as the same, and then linked Ankr to Bitcoin in the same way. Here's why I find this huge. From Poseidon's perspective, the Ankr token is providing such real value in the marketplace that it is moving at the same relative price direction as the leading indicator for the entire cryptocurrency market. I don't know about you, viewer, but that's an important piece of my holdings. But wait, there's more. What about these 0% movers of AMP and Algorand? Those two ecosystems are fascinating by themselves, but they're also changing at the same relative speed. And if you run the math all the way to 122.22, what you find is exactly that. Using 1.822 as a baseline and 1.2222 price, both AMP and Algorand show a relative 33% change in price. Curious. If your brain is sparkling like a firework and you're saying to yourself, I did not expect that. Me either, viewer, but then that's why we're here. This is Unusual Due Diligence. I am your host Poseidon, God of the Sea. In today's fresh episode, we observe how the crypto markets from December 25th of 2021 to January 22nd of 2022 seemingly are explained by a linear series function in Excel, and then using that, we're able to correlate price action of some of our favorite holdings. Excel shouldn't be predicting prices down to the penny. That's very strange. Make waves, my friend.